Shalom, shalom. Swallowing Yeshua. Welcome again to The Rock, and we are back in the work shed because I still have an unbelievable amount of chainsaws that I have to get done. I would show you my chainsaws, but I'm not going to. Or my chainsaw chains. Sorry, chains. Gotta know. These are the ones I'm doing just today. I gotta get done. These are today's chainsaws that I gotta get done. Right here. Yeah. Those are just today's. Yesterday I did probably 10. But anyways, the video's not about that. I had an interesting comment and a correspondence with an older sister, and I think that this highlights one of the reasons why I do this channel, why I talk about some of these things. Because for a lot of sisters and brothers, these topics are not discussed, so they kind of feel like they're out there in the wild blue yonder. They still may have a desire, but they don't know how to approach it. So, I want to talk about it. The original comment, I told her I was going to do a video, so I mentioned her name, but her comment was, I am looking for someone in the faith. I am older and cannot have children anymore. What are my options? And that's a very good question, sister, because in this world today, we push off older women and older men into the corner as if they don't matter. In this faith, it happens, where they push off the older women and the older men to the corner as if they don't matter. We don't talk about older women being covered. We just focus on, the 20-something-year-olds. I focus on all of them. I want every sister to be covered. And I know it's not going to happen. But I want them to be covered as they did in the Bible. As, you see it in 1 Timothy 5, what Paul talks about. She needs to be 80 years old. The wife of one husband, has washed the saints' feet, has lodged strangers, has done every good work, yada, 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 yada. But he tells you to refuse the younger widows. And then he goes on, I'll have a video about that, of what Paul's actually referring to when he said refuse the younger widows and why he said it. Brother David covered it on the video, one of our live streams. But I want to read an answer. And it's from an awesome brother named Yah Sunrise. I want to give him the credit because he said this, and I think this is a very awesome response. This is kind of what I would have said. And I'm going to add a little bit more after, but I believe that he really hit it. He says, hi, Stephanie. Oh, hi, sister. I'm sure FY will do a good video and answer your question, and I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but just in case he has a backlog of vids to get out, I guess I'll put my 2 cents in for what it's worth. And I want to say thank you, brother. Thank you so much, because when sisters ask these questions, you're right. With chainsaws and out there in the gardens and taking down trees and rebuilding, motors or all the different tasks that I have, it is nice to know that I have honorable, trusted brothers that can come on and answer these questions for these sisters. And that you had the love and not saying, well, she's an older sister, I'm not going to answer. Because some of y'all do that. Well, she's an older sister, I'm not going to answer. This brother took out his time to answer that question. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. That's really what this channel is about. That's really what it is about. But let's continue. First, I'd say that I'm sure you probably have many options. And just because you are over 50 doesn't mean you are disqualified from having a man of Yah for a husband. There are many good men out there, but also some not so good men. Telling the truth, brother. So be careful and prayerful. Some of them might be a bit gun shy nowadays. Also, so don't be afraid to make the first move. I absolutely agree. In fact, brother and sister and sisters, I'm not just talking about that for the older women. I think women in general should stop operating under this. I'm just going to sit here and be found. A man that finds a wife, you're taking that verse out of context. It's not saying that he's looking around for a wife. When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. It means that when he is married and she is a good wife, he has found a good thing. Not saying that he's out there searching the woods and the highlands and the cities looking for a wife. No. What men need to do is we need to look for and pursue the vision that God gave us. That's what we should do. And a lot of you women, sisters, older and younger, need to read the story of Ruth. You need to read the story of Ruth, Ruth chapter 2 specifically, and look at the conversation between Naomi and Ruth and what Naomi told Ruth to do. And look at Ruth's response. Some of y'all, you need to come across, you need to see being covered like Naomi understood the importance of it was for Ruth. Because some of y'all approach this thing as if it's some one-off task. Well, I'll get to it eventually. I'll get to it eventually. And eventually never comes, because you end up in a place where you're not desirable to a man anymore. Let me continue. Remember that any man worth his weight in salt and that has his head screwed on straight will probably have a few questions, concerns for a potential wife. Absolutely true. Such as, what was the circumstances of her divorce and how long ago was it? Does she maintain a relationship with her children and ex? Does she believe the man is the head of the home under Yeshua? What lifestyle is she coming from? And what does she want? Homesteading, etc. Brother, these are excellent questions. Excellent questions. Is she willing to work at home or only away from home? Is she open to polygyny or only monogamy, and why? Is she willing to relocate? That's an important one. That's an important one, because if you are willing to relocate as a sister, younger or older, you have options. You're not relegated to, and the way today is, the way social media has opened up the opportunity for us to communicate to each other, which has been a good and a bad thing, because now we have a lot more abstract relationships where people think they have a relationship because they have a friend on Facebook. But the other aspect is it's opened up the opportunity for people that, let's say you come to the Torah, you're an older woman, you come to the law, and you realize, man, I do want to be covered. I do see the value. I see what the brothers have been talking about. But I'm over here in, let's just say, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. I don't know any people out here. That's one of the reasons why we have this channel. I can tell you that there have been many sisters, older ones, who have found brothers, on the channel and are married. And I can tell you, hey, some of them have failed, because I'm not the matchmaker. I don't do the matchmaking. I don't sit back and say, well, this, that, and the other. I can tell you, hey, this brother's been on my channel this long. He seems solid, whatever. Or he's on, he's off, he's on, he's off. I can tell you that part, but I can't tell you his character. That's for you to discern. But I would say, if you were interested in the brother, before you just willy-nilly go out there and talk with him, see if there's any brethren around that you could talk to that may know his character, that may know him. And he should not feel, bothered by that. But also, who's going to attest to your character, sisters? Who's going to attest to who you are and how you live? Who's going to do that? So it goes both ways. Anyways, is she willing to relocate, etc., etc.? I wouldn't expect you to air out all your laundry right here and now. And sister, do not air out everything on the comment section. Don't do it. But I would just, but I just thought I'd throw a few things out there to think about. But again, I believe you will have many options. Ask the Father to help you. He knows our desire for a man after his own heart. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And by the way, he owns the men too. He does. Blessings to you. But that's an awesome, awesome response. Thank you, y'all, Sunrise. And I want to highlight that, because when a brother comes out and says something that's powerful and that's helpful to the sisters, I want y'all to hear that. A lot of times y'all think that what we're talking about is against you. It's actually for you. Did you hear any angst or anger towards a sister? No. But we do want things to be done decently and in order. We do want sisters to be covered, but it has to be done right. So, and he's right, there are a lot of options. If you are looking for a husband, or if you're looking to be covered, those are two different things. But if you're looking for a husband, and that's what your mind is set on, all those questions are very, very valid. One of the questions that I ask, when a sister's interested in, my house, or interested, in another brother's house, and a brother wants me to talk with her, what do you have to offer that brother? What do you have to offer the brother whose house you are interested in entering into? Because it can't just be, well, I give him vagina. Well, they give you the classics. Well, I'll listen to him, and I want a partnership, and I'm not looking for a partnership. I don't think most men are looking for a partnership. They're looking for what the Bible says. A helpmeet. They want somebody that's going to bring peace to him. They want somebody whose heart can safely trust in them. That's what we're looking for. And I think that because of modern society, women don't come off with that. They're not. That's not what they're about. It's not what they're about. It always becomes a, well, what does he have to offer me? But men, you have to start off asking this question: what do you have? Turn this off. What does she have to offer you as the head? What does she have to give you as the head of the household? Is she just bringing in her ideas and her feelings? I want to continue to hit on this. I might have to do a separate video on this. But is she striving to understand your home? To understand how you do it? Is she putting that in the forefront of her mind? How do I get myself ready to join this man's house? But as for older sisters, do not think that you're trash. I know a lot of y'all, you hear messages, you hear things, and you just think, well, I'm too old for this. I'm too old for that. I thank you, sister, for standing up, because there's a lot of sisters out there that have that same thought process. And there's a lot of brothers out there that are looking, for a wife. And they may be older, and they may say, hey, I'm older. I'll take a woman who's 50. I'll take a woman who's 55. I'll take a woman who's 48. But one of the biggest problems that I think that there is, and I want you to pay attention to this, is that if you live for that long, how much of that stuff has gotten in here to where you're no longer malleable, to where you have become rigid in your beliefs and your thoughts? And that's what I have experienced myself in talking with older women. Is a lot of them are just rigid. They're not malleable. They spent 45 or 50 years. They've come from one relationship or one marriage, and it was a disaster or whatever it may happen, and they still operate in that mindset. In order to join another man's house, you have to be malleable. You have to want to be nurtured by the man that you are seeking to marry. His nurturing should come first and foremost, above mine, above the local pastor, above the local elders. Above his nurturing is what you're not asking for everybody to cover you. You're asking for him to cover you. So that should be the forefront of your thoughts. So his nurturing, which means you must be malleable and ready to receive the information. Not just receive it, but you must be ready to receive it and do it. What does it say in the book of James? Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourself. Don't listen to all these videos about submission and subjection and reverence and obedience to your husband and don't do it. You have to be a doer of the word. So you have to be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Old things have passed away and all things have become new. You have to allow the old to pass away off of you. You must wipe the old off of you. And you must allow that man, that husband, to bring the word and wash you by the word. Which means you should be seeking him. Literally. You seek the Father, but if you are now in communication with the man, you need to seek him. And people always say, seek his face. You need to seek that man's face. And I mean that literally. You must show him that is your desire. He is your desire. I'm gonna do a whole nother video on that. But I'm gonna finish this video. I'm gonna shoot that video. But that is something that you really have to consider if you're an older woman or a younger woman, because I don't want to draw this big separation. The only difference that I seem to be is, as an older woman, you can't have children. So you're gonna find a man that probably doesn't want to have children. But there are a lot of men who are saying, hey, I've had children too. I've had children too. They're grown. Your children are grown. Hey, let's do this. Let's do this. So, is it impossible? No. Is it possible? Definitely. Are you just not worth anything? No. Don't believe that shit. What you need to believe, though, is you have to understand that there are certain things that may be against you. And all people should be humble, to be honest. We all should be humble, but you're not going to be able to come with this attitude. Nobody should be able to come with an attitude, but especially if you're an older woman, humility should be in the forefront of your mind. Understanding, I want a husband. I want to be covered. And I understand that I'm older, and I understand I can't give him children, and yada, 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 yada. But it does not mean you're not valuable, and it does not mean you're not worth anything. In fact, especially for men that are, let's say you're a homesteader, let's say you're a sister and You're 45, 50 years old, and you've grown food before, and that man whose house you're going to is a homesteader. You may be able to bring some skills to his household, but you should only bring the skills that he is looking for. Don't go and try to teach him what you know. Go in and assimilate to him. That's what I would suggest. All right. I hope that answered your question, sister. And brother Yah Sunrise, bless you, brother. Thank you for taking the time to answer the question. It's a beautiful thing to see brothers come out and encourage our sisters, our older sisters in this faith, being love and not saying, well, they're older. A lot of men have that attitude of, well, she ain't joining my house, so why am I helping her? That's sad. That's sad. It just took a little bit of time, and that brother may have been able to help a sister find her head, find her covering, and be saved, as Ephesians 5, verse 22 to the end of the chapter says. Bless y'all. I hope this is helpful for you older sisters, and shalom.